My dear students, wish you a very good morning to all of you. This is a fifth and final video. So let me welcome all of you. We had seen in the last video about the Jenny Montres. First, when she met to this Robinson family, she was shy, but after becoming familiar with them, she lived with them. One day they saw a ship which had laid anchor and encampment had been set up one of the smaller islands. After checking the people through their spyglass, Fitz and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. They did not want the crew to think they were savages. The next day, the Fitz and his father met the captain and told him their own history as well as Jenny's. So one day, this Robinson and his son, they saw a ship which had laid anchor. Anchor means here is a large piece of metal which keep in water, and it can block the ship. Means it could not move the ship. That's why the ship can stay at one place. An encampment had been set up on one of the smaller islands. After checking the people through their spyglass, Fitz and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. So they did not want the crew to think they were savages. And when they met the captain, so before after checking the people through their spyglass, Fitz and his father, they decided to announce themselves that they had returned home. After returning home means they have to clean up. They did not want the crew to think they were savages. What they did not want the crew to think about themselves, means that they were the savages. Savages means that they were the cruel. Means they were not the cruel. Means they did not want the captain to think about themselves, about their cruel wildfires. The next day, Fitz and his father met the captain and told him their own history as well as Jenny's. And in the next day, the captain this man means the Robinson and his son expressed their stories and their history as well as Jenny's. How did they meet Jenny, and how she became familiar with them, and how she lived with them. So about those in detail, they expressed their thoughts. To everyone's surprise, it had been Jenny's father who had inspired the captain's search. But actually, they did not know about this captain. This captain was the father of the Jenny's, who had inspired the captain's search. He believed that his daughter was still alive after 3 years. The captain had decided to attempt to find her. Actually, captain was in search for her Jenny, for her daughter. But when this Robinson and his son told about the Jenny, so Jenny means the captain was exactly father of the Jenny. But they did not know. But after expressing their ideas, expressing their the history about themselves, then they got the idea about that captain, means the captain was the father of Jenny. With a burst of celebration, the family, passengers and crew of the British vessel headed towards New Switzerland. With a burst of celebration, the family, passengers and crew of the British vessel headed towards New Switzerland. Headed towards means they reached towards the New Switzerland, and that's why they celebrate the celebration. All the family and the passengers and the crew crew of the British, means except from the officers of the on the ship. It is called crew members. Everyone was amazed by the prosperity and good health of the survivors. So everyone was amazed, everyone was surprised by the prosperity and good health of the survivors. Survivor means one who outlive. Survivors means the members, those who outlive. As the day ended, the father realized that decisions must be made about who wanted to stay on island or return with the ship. Elizabeth and her husband did not wish to live anywhere but on the island. As the day ended, in the end of the day, the father realized that decisions must be made about who wanted to stay on the island or return with the ship. He asked the opinions of all those who were on the ship and whether they want to live on the island or return with the ship. Elizabeth and her husband did not wish to live anywhere but on the island. They had been there for so long and had grown used to their life. So Elizabeth and the Robinson did not want to live on the island because they had been there for so long, and that's where they grown used to their life. Janie asked if anyone would support her return to England. Fitz was the first to respond. So in meanwhile, Janie asked the family of Robinson, so if anyone would support her to return England, and of course the Fritz was the person who responded her to support her. He offered cheers for us who were going to Europe. Ernest, on the other hand, wanted to stay on the island. Jack also decided to stay back. Franz, the youngest boy, decided to join the Fritz in living. So the Fritz and the Jenny wanted to go back to Europe. Ernest, the other hand, wanted to stay on the island. Jack also decided to stay back. Franz, the youngest boy, decided to join the Fritz in living. And there was one of the youngest boy whose name was Franz, and he also decided to stay with the Fritz. Franz wanted a chance to receive an academic education because he was small boy. He was a school boy, and that's why he wanted to take academic education, and that's why he decided to live with the Fritz to go back. Before Fritz left, he told his parents of his love for Jenny and his wish to marry her. So Fritz, the son of the Robinson, also he wished to marry with Jenny. The father had kept a record of all the adventures they had on the island. He handed over the journals to the captain to be published, and then the ship departed. So the father Robinson kept the record of all the adventures. How did they got the experience? How did they spend days on the islands? So about all those things, he kept the records because it was adventure. It was adventure voyage, thrilling experience about their life, about their past life, and that's why he kept the record. And so he handed over the journals, because journals means a daily record, newspaper, magazine, that is called the journals. So he handed over the journals to the captain to be published in the newspaper, and then the ship departed. Then the ship moved towards England, and that is the end of this 1.2 synopsis, the Swiss Family Robinson. So my dear students, so please read this 1.2 chapter carefully and find out the meanings of the hard words and write down these words in your notebook, and then I will teach you in the next video about the compound words and remaining word. Thank you.